Due to technical difficulties, I'm recording this on my phone rather than on my computer because I'm editing this episode from a laptop, but that shouldn't stop you from heading on over to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv and helping us out a little bit. In fact, I don't know why it would influence your decision one way or another. So just letting you know because I'm self-conscious about how crummy this part sounds. So again, that is www.patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv.
Some of our landings were desperate adventures. We are now prepared to meet the inevitable counterattacks with power and with confidence.
My name is Gary Butterfield.
My name is Kole Ross.
My name is CJ.
My name is Paddy.
And you're listening to a Bonfireside Chat Appendix. It is a hunter's favorite appendix.
Yes, and we are reading your responses to the old second half of Central Yharnam. And as you heard, we are joined once again by the Twin Humanities, CJ and Paddy. Thanks so much for sticking around, guys.
No, good as gold. Cheers.
Yeah, happy to be here. Half past midnight. It's good.
Yes. I think, there's time zones. So as you guys probably heard last episode, CJ and Paddy were gracious enough to join us, but now we want to hear what you have to say. First, we have a little bit of follow-up, however. And I will go ahead and get us started here with Illusory Wall, our friend and yours. And he says, "Hi, guys. Regarding the closed door, Gary is correct that the mystery in question related to whether or not the door was simply a shortcut between the Cathedral Ward and the Cleric Beast Bridge. YouTuber and Bloodborne Guide contributor, a German spy, explained that it was just an unused shortcut, though I had seen some doubt regarding how the geography lined up, and speculation that the closed door could have led to a secret area or future DLC. The demonstration I did with the Shining Coins video was meant to confirm that the unopenable door could not possibly lead anywhere new. However, I didn't actually try anything special to open it. I figured it was impossible since I'd never heard of anyone else having success. So having high insight is something I hadn't heard before. But I fired up the game last night, and with 99 insight, it did not work, unfortunately. And there is a link. According to Eurogamer, they spoke with somebody close to the project, and they said it was used to open in an earlier build of the game, so it strongly appears to have been removed as a viable shortcut and is probably completely unopenable now. Now, with that cleared up, can we move on to more pressing matters? Like, is there a way to get out of the dungeon without using the wizard's key?" This is a reference on Facebook. That happened with it was in the responses.
Yes, it was in the previous appendix.
Yes. Somebody said, no, it's just insight related. And I didn't think so, but I hadn't heard of that. And Illusory tested it because he is, and I'm not putting the person who suggested that was insight related on blast at all. Like, part of the nature of the way that information is shared in these games is that, like, it is very easy to repeat rumor, which I have done. Yep. Multiple times. Like, it's something that I heard and it makes sense. And I had an Oprah memory about it or something like that and repeated something that's not true. Yeah. I try not to, but I've done it myself as well.
Put me on blast for putting that in the notes without going and checking it.
Nobody needs to be on blast.
Okay.
But to be fair, it's insight. I mean, who knows?
Totally. And he tested it with 99 insight, but it could be, even if you test it with 40 insight, which is usually the breaking point, and it doesn't work, it's like, well, maybe you need 60 insight. Maybe you need 70 insight. That's not the kind of thing you're going to run across very naturally because you have no reason to be back in that area of the game.
Yeah, I was walking around in Hammock Charnel Lane with 75 insight and Eris came back to life.
Yes. Yeah. It's funny that you bring it up because things do happen with more insight in Hammock Charnel Lane, which I didn't realize in my first playthrough. So thank you, Illusory Wall. Yeah. I'm hoping to get him on the show this season. Yeah. And we just need to find the right area. And, because it seems like it would be covering a lot of the same ground if we just did data mining with again. So I'm trying to find a good area to get him on.
Yeah. I will continue with Coffin Gate.
Yeah.
No, the continuing discussion of the coffin stuff. I'm going to kind of like banner this, even though these responses are really good. We may have to put a clamp on the coffin stuff in a little bit.
So if you're right, close the coffin.
Yeah, we're going to have to close the lid on the coffin. But I'm going to share at least this one, and then we're going to have one more after this. And something really has to blow our minds after this to get shared.
Include more coffin talk.
Yep, a whole season
coffin talk.
Coffin talk.
Fuck.
But it's like your Cockney accent.
Nope, it is not. Don't worry. I was just parroting Gary.
No, I was just doing the Dana Carvey character from mid-90s Saturday Night Live.
But this is Robin, our good friend, writing in via contact, saying, I've been pondering the elaborate chained coffins in Central Yharnam and wondering if they could possibly be immurement. Immurement is a form of permanent and lethal imprisonment used as punishment, sacrifice, or appeasement. We know in Bloodborne that clergy and hunters are especially susceptible to horrible transformations, so it would make sense that these more venerated individuals would be immured to permanently contain them. Whilst bricking up clergy is a more common form of immurement, I can't imagine a mere brick wall withstanding the transformation of the afflicted into huge and hideous beasts. Just speculating.
Yeah, sure. Like that's a cool idea. Like, and it's cool to learn things about it. Like, the reason why we're going to stop talking about coffins eventually is not because any of these ideas are wrong, but without new evidence, like they all feel likely.
Yeah, and they all feel roughly equally spooky. I mean, this is basically a Cask of Amontillado-ing them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which I dig.
Yeah.
As well, yeah. So thank you, Robin. With you guys, let's go CJ and then Paddy on our round robin here. So CJ, do you want to read Tim's?
Yeah, both of these are Tim's, so we essentially become Tim Humanities.
Hello.
Right, Tim says player contact. I wanted to chime in about why I think some of the coffins are so durable with locks on them. The explanation about people desecrating corpses is a solid one, but doesn't quite sit right with me ever since I read the item description for Beast Raw. The description reads in part, borrow the strength of the terrible undead dark beasts, if only for a moment, to blast surrounding foes back with the force of a roaring beast. This is one of the few, if only, items in Bloodborne to refer to some of the metamorphosed beasts as undead. I believe the dark beasts being referred to here are mainly the ones found in Old Yharnam, and that the disease may still cause a person to turn to a beast even after they've died. For example, Gilbert in Central Yharnam refers specifically to the idea that he can die human, only to return as one of the undead dark beast mobs from Old Yharnam, and the only instance of this kind of creature to be found in Central Yharnam. While this may not be a perfect excuse, it lends more credence as to why chained and locked coffins are so prevalent in Yharnam. After all, who wants to get bit in the face while paying final respect?
No. I'm not clear on how a dark beast differentiates from a regular beast. And like the scourge beast ones, is it like an ultimate form? Because like we see one, we fight one later. And it's and it's fully transformed, kind of boss mode. But
the dark beast we fight, like the literal named dark beast that we fight, does have some undead elements to him, like his design, which is what I always thought this was referring to. And that line from Gilbert, I always thought was just kind of tragic irony. Like, he thinks he's going to die human, but unfortunately he doesn't. Yeah. Like, I didn't think of it as he dies human and then as a progression awakens as the beast. I just thought it was him being extra sad because Dark Souls. But that's an interesting idea. It's just kind of weird though, because like as you point out, Tim, it is like the only reference to the beast being undead. For something that would reasonably be a big deal in the plot. Like, you'd think it would have more than just kind of a side item description.
Does it feel like an artifact?
Or like a previous iteration?
Like a previous, like where they were playing with this being like kind of a form of an undead curse.
Yeah, could be.
Not the capital U, capital C undead curse, but kind of playing with that same theme, right?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, there are a lot of things in this game that like sit uncomfortably on the border of like old Souls and new Bloodborne.
Yeah, especially with things like the Umbasa being taken out of Gascoigne's dialogue. Maybe this was another sort of link towards Demon Souls.
Yeah, definitely could be. And with that, we close the lid on Coffin Gate. Well, we can reopen the coffin, but for now, Coffin Gate is closed. Yep. Take all coffin-related conversation to facebook.com/coffins.
A lot of sad moms there.
Yeah, it's gonna be some like poor undertaker in Ohio who's just getting all this bloodborne speculation on his business page.
Like, oh man, he felt so lucky to snag that domain on Facebook. Like, it's crazy. Coffins. Who would have taken it? That's like a 2007 level domain on Facebook. But
joke's on you, Carl Parker, mortuary and embalming.
Yep. And
Funny, the page is getting popular. I think it finally happened.
I know.
I'll teach you to not believe in my dreams.
One thing I will say: where's the cat tonight?
Or is he sleeping? I came down and hang out with him and gave him some strong pets, and he is now sleeping. So I can see him. He's sleeping on my bed, but he's been sleeping through the whole recording session.
Because it's always funny sort of to listen to a show and just hear like a in the background. I just imagine like in cat language, it's more like he's just chiming in future societies. in future societies, when the world has been cleansed with a nuclear fire and our new cat masters are riding on giant cockroaches, they'll learn how to. They'll get these old recordings from the old world and they'll be able to translate the cat.
And they'll all be about Bloodborne.
Yeah. Rather than it being sort of like these wonderful sort of smooth purring cat noises, it'll be more like, how the hell can you say that? The great daffodil sword is the result of discovering Disco Dave's corpse by the mausoleum in the rotten caramel town.
Truly, he was a prophet.
He's just in the background saying, you assholes, stop talking about video games. Just talk about video games.
Yeah, they're just talking about wet food.
Crying out loud, just open a can of Whiskers.
I selfishly really want people to start demanding Bonfireside Cat shirts so I can own one. And as somebody pointed out, chat is cat in French.
Yes. Yeah.
So Bonfireside Cat shirts works on multiple levels.
Gary, I assure you that is on the queue of my shirt design.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can have one. Just lay down and put the cat on yourself, and you have one.
Well, I'm
and light a fire in your chest.
Nailed it.
Bonfireside Cat blanket right now on top of my Bonfireside Cat futon.
You've got duct tape, right?
That's true. I don't have tape.
Isn't cat in French pronounced shat? So that just makes it sound like it's some sort of it's more like, shall we say?
It's a past tense of shit. Yeah.
Yes. Paddy, if you want to read Tim number 2 or Tim number 1.
Yeah, this response is from maybe the same Tim. Who knows? I spent the first few hours of Bloodborne very carefully venturing through Central Yharnam at a slow pace, really working to get the controls down and making sure not to miss any items. I had remembered the entrance to Cleric Beast Arena from preview videos and was too scared to try a boss quite yet. So I dropped into the sewers, where I continued my deathless streak through the area. I was sitting on a very nice stack of echoes, and adrenaline was coursing through my veins. This was a total blast, and I was rocking it. Those countless hours of Soul games had trained me well. I had this game's number. I had committed the most egregious sin for a Souls player. That of pride. Feeling so high on myself, I crawled up the ladder towards Gascoigne's arena, and for some reason the sight of the torch-wielding huntsman lighting a huge ball on fire next to a huntsman's minion scared the ever-loving crap out of me, and I turned to quickly roll away and get some space, my foolishly arrogant brain forgetting completely that I had not even a second before climbed up a very tall ladder. I could only laugh as the words, "You died," covered the screen in front of my flattened corpse, scattering my echoes to the wind and shattering my fragile ego. Miyazaki had done it again. Remember, kids, pride, it doesn't pay. You will die, embarrassingly, over and over again. Dear God, yes, all of that. I've done exactly the same thing. You get proud, and you forget, and you fall, and then you feel stupid. And then you hit the share button on your PS4 and go, guys, look what I did, I'm done.
Nothing can hurt me. I'm Dan Davis, captain of the football team.
I had an excellent one of those later on. I was running through to a shortcut, an elevator, but I had forgotten to raise the elevator back up again, and I was just trying to avoid all the enemies. So I ran forwards, went straight for where the elevator should have been. It wasn't there. I fell all the way down the shaft, landed on the bottom, like, oh, that was annoying. But one of the enemies that was chasing me landed directly on top of me 2 seconds later. It was like, boom. It was like, I'm going to get you! Nailed it. Good job. Yep. But yes, excellent points. Please never be proud.
Yes. Yeah.
Remember you're playing a Miyazaki game.
Levi. Yeah, so thank you, Tims. Levi says via contact, the sewer area felt like a mini blight town. When you didn't have any threat of poison, it did force you to traverse multiple levels, climb ladders blindly, not knowing what was at the top, as well as fight aggressive and intimidating enemies on thin ledges. There are a couple of areas that can only be accessed by falling, after which you must try to gain your bearings, try to navigate back to the ladder, where you find where you fell, and do it again so you can get previously unreachable items. It was unnerving and very satisfying the entire time I was exploring there. Father Gascoigne is definitely my favorite NPC. Lore-wise, he's the character I'm most interested in. I feel like there's a lot we don't know about him, and I'm hoping they expand upon his character in future DLC. He kind of feels like an Artorias character to me. I almost always summon him for Cleric Beast now. Not to make the fight easier, but because it's so much fun to see him in action. An 8-foot-tall brute of a man, an 8-foot-tall brute man of the cloth, who fights with animalistic rage. I feel that in the fight with the Cleric Beast, you are seeing him in his final moments before he loses himself to beasthood. Could he perhaps be targeting members of the church who have turned into beasts? You summon him for Cleric, and then encounter him on your way to the ward and Vicar. Just a cool thing to think about.
Yeah. I like that idea of him, kind of like being on this kind of revenge tear, right? Like knowing, okay, I've got to hunt beasts. Y'all are beasts, and you kind of did this to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It would be a revenge thing as opposed. I don't think he's like straight up like a hunter of hunters.
Yeah.
Because that job's taken. But the idea of him actually having a problem specifically with the church has legs, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But even though he's still wearing the scarf.
Yeah, I guess that's true. And also, why wouldn't you hang out and help me with the Vicar, you piece of shit? Because that's where I needed you. As will be revealed 2 episodes hence. That is my the Vicar Amelia is my Vietnam.
Yeah.
So that's my one boss for this game.
Yeah,
that I died to the most. Mostly because I fought her when you can run into her.
Yes.
Which I didn't realize you weren't supposed to do.
Yep, and the game does nothing to tell you that except make it so you can't fight her. Or make it can't beat her, rather.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep,
I'm going to move on. So Laughlin, sorry if I mispronounced her name, Laughlin, but that's how I'm going to say it, writes in via contact. Just a note for people writing in, if you write in via the contact form, I will not put your last name in. If you write in via Facebook, it is there in public, so we're going to share it. So there's that for you, just so you know the rhyme to that reason, or the reason to that rhyme. So Laughlin writes in saying, when I started Bloodborne, the 2 werewolves on the bridge were too much of a deterrent for me. I assumed they were a sign that the area behind them was too difficult. It reminded me of accidentally wandering into the back door of Blighttown an hour into my first playthrough of Dark Souls. So I ran past them into the sewers. As a result, I missed the Cleric Beast, and Father Gascoigne was my first boss.
Ooh.
I am a Souls veteran, but I felt like the opening area of Bloodborne was a meat grinder, and coming up against Gascoigne without the ability to level up was incredibly frustrating. He was too fast and aggressive, and after 9 or 10 failed attempts, I decided that he must have been intended to be a lesson in how important staggering and visceral attacks are. Like many people, I didn't learn to parry in Dark Souls until I fought Gwyn, and I assumed the developers were trying to make sure that we learned this important skill early. I ran through the levels a few times, practicing interrupting attacks with my pistol, and then discovered that I could talk to NPCs in the houses, found the music box, and ripped Gascoigne apart on my next try. I haven't finished my first playthrough yet, though I'm close, but Father Gascoigne is the only boss that I've had so much trouble with. It was nice to feel that good old Dark Souls fear again, even if it was kind of undercut when I finally worked up the courage to kill the werewolves and discovered the real, much easier first boss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he is not for you now.
Yeah. The same thing happened to me. Like, I missed the Cleric Beast and I got to Gascoigne first.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, huh.
Because I was on quite a high after, because I did the Cleric Beast first time, which I was surprised even me. But when I got to Gascoigne, I was instantly humbled. So I can't imagine that being the first boss fight. It's like crying out loud.
Yeah. Hitting Gascoigne made me want to look and find someplace else I could go. And the place that I found upon further inspection was, in fact, the Cleric Beast and the place I was meant to go in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Although completely optionally.
Yep.
You never need to, which is going to be a theme.
What I'm confused here, do you have to have insight from the Cleric Beast, or do you have to have any insight at all in order to activate and revive the doll?
Any insight.
One insight from anywhere, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just, because I did that this time. If you want to summon Gascoigne, you have to do that.
Yeah. I was just curious in raising that because that is the situation that was raised up in Laughlin's response.
Oh yeah, if there are
can
different
you
kinds of
imagine-
insight.
Oh,
Yeah,
if you missed the cleric beast and then could never upgrade for the entire game. Oh my god!
Yeah.
Dark Souls.
that'd be some bullshit. Oh yes, thank you, Laughlin.
Mm-hmm.
CJ, do you want to read Sean's response?
Yeah, so Sean Wagner, Shonawoo, Shonawoo, by Facebook. We love you, Sean. My first comment on the second portion of Central Yharnam is the enjoyable moment of environment storytelling I experience. Just before entering the area where you speak with Eileen, there are a couple of corpses, one with the saw spear. I like to think that those are two hunters that Eileen disposed of, hanging them up after. It's a small detail, but it adds a bit to her role as the hunter of hunters. As I made my way through the aqueduct, I noticed that all of the lanterns are messengers holding lamps. This led me to wonder about the sculptor that created these pieces and why. Besides giving a fitting Gothic tone, were the messengers enough of a cultural touchstone in Yharnam as to be something fashioned for an undesirable portion of the city where few people would visit? I have no conclusions on it, just an interesting point for discussion. And then Sean goes on to describe Gascoigne's storyline, some elements that were covered in the main episode.
And some elements we'll cover when we conclude it. As well, Sean and I on Facebook were kind of going back and forth talking about that, but it all has to do with some stuff that happens after the time change. So the stuff that he talks about in his response that that happened at this point chronologically in the game, we covered in the episode.
Yep.
But let's talk about that messenger as like cultural artifact thing, because I was under the impression before I noticed that messengers weren't visible. Mm-hmm. For non-hunters or non-people who were touched by the hunter's mark or had some kind of connection to the dream. But apparently they are.
Well, I mean, if you ascribe to the or subscribe rather to the interpretation that the Yharnam that you're seeing is a dream, then they would be represented as kind of like a version of this that kind of carries some of the imagery that the person who created it had in mind. Somebody who was aware of the messengers in the first place.
Yeah, well, that's part of the individual dream of the artist, and that's in their mind, or that's a piece of inspiration they've drawn from, and it has become cultural, and then it's almost swung back. It's a touchstone between the dream and reality through art.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is one of those things. Like I don't have where I want to land on is Yharnam a dream yet?
Yeah.
There's things that support it, but I'm resisting it with every fiber of my being because I just don't like it. Like I don't want to spend the time in a dream. That's dumb to me. Like I don't know.
The way to find out, you have to spin the little dreidel and see if it falls over.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but that was one of the things that kept cropping up in Dark Souls 2 as well. The Butter Dream message on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the like a dream.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, Butter Dream just sounds like it's going to be like, do you like butter but none of the calories? Try Butter Dream.
Yeah. It would make a sense, and there is an ending that supports it, which we'll talk about way later in like a year. But like I am resistant to any story that turns out anything was a dream. Mm-hmm. I don't like it, and I don't have a good reasoning behind it. And this is somebody who I love Lovecraft, and in Lovecraft there actually is the Dreamlands where people can travel to that, and it's extant. It doesn't mean like a dream does not have to be code word for doesn't matter and was fake.
Yeah.
But it is just an association I have that I have to shake off.
If they make the mechanics of the dream and kind of the cosmology and the way that those are kind of created, here, that there is authorship behind the notion of dreams, right? And, what kind of forces are aligned to them. So there is consequence behind it. And I think that takes away any resistance I would have to this is an immediate thing that is an authorial cop-out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't take away all of my resistance, but I recognize what you're saying. Yeah. I don't think you're wrong. It just, I still have a little bit of that resistance. I wouldn't think it was an authorial cop-out. It just makes it feel worse for me.
Yeah.
So. Anywho, do you want to go on to Corey?
Yeah.
Before we do, Sean Wagner, the author of the last one, actually runs the Lore Hunter.
Yeah.
Bloodborne account, and we've been chatting back and forth. He's doing some deep dives on some things, so go check that out.
Yeah, I was going to mention that at the end.
Okay.
The thing that he does. That it's a really good, like, he does his own work on there, but then he also does. It's also kind of a repository for lore stuff. It's really cool. Yeah. It is a super cool blog, and it will be in the show notes.
Okay, so moving on to Corey via contact. For me, Father Gascoigne was peak Bloodborne frustration. He's pretty manageable until he hulks out around a third health, and learning to fight his much more difficult beast form meant taking some damage getting him there. Consequently, I'd occasionally have to stop fighting him and farm for blood vials, which is hardly trivial at this point in the game, and took me out of the boss fight mindset. The fact that he's blocking the way to the rest of the game further exacerbated my frustration, since there was nowhere else I could go explore after I got tired of flinging myself against the wall.
Yeah, that is true. Like, there's nothing optional to do. There are so few mandatory boss fights in this game. The next one that you run into, there are alternatives, which is the boss I talked about flinging myself up against. But when you run into Vicar Amelia, you can go and do some other stuff if you want to. Here, you really can't.
Yeah.
And I don't want to turn this into a broken record for the season of bitching about farming for blood vials, but I maintain that is a bad mechanic.
Yeah.
And should never have made it into the game. It's really frustrating. I see no good in it. So I share your pain, Corey.
I agree.
I just looked upon it as parrying practice. Just keep practicing. Yep.
Yeah, you can do it. Like, you can make, and now on subsequent playthroughs when I'm like, oh, blood, like, vials are valuable. Like, knowing that now and knowing I need to buy them and stuff, like, I'll go out of my way to kill an enemy if I know he'll drop a blood vial. Or if I have, like, a couple Thaudo souls, I'll just drop them into blood vials, even if I don't need them.
Yeah.
And you can kind of manage it. But that first playthrough is just a nightmare. Like, any boss I just died to repeatedly just became, like, a slog in a way that the Souls games have never been before.
Yeah. When you bottom out, like, you in that first playthrough, you really get on the other side of the rich get richer. The wrong side of it. When
I love how it telegraphs itself to you by not by bottoming out, but like you know every time I'm fighting this guy I have 21 blood vials, great, and then all of a sudden I go to fight him and I have 12, and I'm like, do I even try it? What's the point? I don't care. You know, like, everything sucks.
Although that flips on your second playthrough, because the co-op run me and CJ have been doing, we've just got up to about the Bloodstaff Beast, and I have sold about 40 of them so far.
Oh wow!
Oh wow!
Yeah, I'm like, I don't need them. Like, and that's not me saying, hey, I'm really good. It's just like, I'm just not really. I know how to farm them now and get them quickly.
And because you're doing co-op.
Yeah.
And co-op, exactly. So, like, we're just sort of waltzing through places going, you're all shit. Which is fun.
Yeah. So Thomas says via contact, CJ will undoubtedly speak to his experience with Father Gascoigne's storyline as he has in Twin Humanities. I never tire of hearing about it, because this was the first moment Bloodborne touched the same heartbreaking storytelling that I appreciated in Dark Souls. After I gave the daughter back the brooch, I felt like a fool. I should have known better than to expect a video game fetch quest from a Souls game. Of course the little girl would be distraught at the loss of her parents. I felt like a real bastard after that. But the moment moved me to create a low soul level, blood level, character with the music box to help people out against Papa G. There have been a few cases of people asking me what I was doing to stagger him. Directed them to the girl in the window for their subsequent playthroughs. By the way, Cole, thanks for the Big Coffin Hunter reference last appendix. I'd sell my threaded cane for a Dark Tower special from you guys.
Yeah. The Big Coffin Hunters.
Thank you, Thomas, as well. Thank you, Thomas. Very much appreciated. I do like the Papa G nickname though, because I've now got Papa Don't Preach, which kind of ties into him being
Papa Don't Beast.
Yeah. Papa Do Beast.
Yeah.
That's the point. That's the point of Papa G.
We talked about popping beasts all during last episode. We don't need to get back into popping our beasts.
Yeah.
You.
Yeah, no, the Big Coffin Hunter thing is from the middle doldrums of the Dark Tower, so I'm happy somebody recognized that.
Yeah, I didn't recognize what it was, so it probably didn't end up in the show notes.
Oh, I've only read the first two. I've got the whole set, but I've only managed 2 of those.
Read the third.
Okay.
Yeah, read the third, because it's one of the best books ever. But it ends
I think I finished the second. The drawing of the 3 is the last one I read. I think that's the second one, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, I'll read the third.
Yeah.
Am I gonna have to write you an angry email when I'm done?
No, you're not gonna. Like, if you read the third, you're good. If you go between 4 and 7, it ends up being the kind of self-indulgent, kind of metaphysical horse shit that only I appreciate. apparently. So I can't in good conscience or good faith encourage anybody to go on that journey, at least outside of their own volition. However, the 8th one, The Wind Through the Keyhole, is actually really, really good. So that would be what I would say. Read number 3 and then number 4 and then number 8.
Okay.
Yep.
Skip the middle 4.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So I'm going to take us on to a to a just funnin'. Big funnin'.
You okay?
Yep, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm doing okay.
I just asked if you're okay because we're just funnin'.
Somebody suggested I drive across the country to hug you because of...
I've been having a lot of instances of just funnin' lately. It's not great.
I like the thought of you doing that, and the only song that's in the car is the theme to The Littlest Hobo. There is a voice, keeps on calling me.
But Belshazzar writes in via contact saying, I rarely hear much discussion about role-playing in Souls games, because there is little gameplay benefit to assuming a specific character and limiting your action/dress/playstyle accordingly. I hear a lot of people dismiss the role-playing aspects as superfluous to the experience. Inhabiting a character that I have created specifically for each game is a huge part of the Souls experience for me. Playing Bloodborne as an aging, mournful, and bearded James Cromwell lookalike. Each beast I kill weighs heavily on me, and it is clear that I take no pleasure in the hunt. This self-imposed narrative has absolutely no gameplay value, but my experience of the game would be entirely different if I was to play the role of a young Van Helsing-esque monster killer. It is apparent that others find role-playing important as well, as I frequently see summoned players dressed in unique clothes, wielding weapons that most would not consider to be the most powerful, and performing appropriate but useless gestures at enemies, NPCs, and the environment. Do any of you do any role-playing when you play Bloodborne? I wonder how many Souls players assume a different sort of role and change their playstyle without realizing it. How would players react if non-gameplay relevant features like gestures and character creation were removed entirely? Although it makes no actual difference in the world of my game, inhabiting a character is an important part of my Souls experience. I'd love to hear how you and your listeners interact with the game on this level. I don't. Just to answer this out here, readily, possibly because of that mechanical thing, I would be upset if the gestures were taken out, because that is the only form of communication you have with other players when you're in their world.
Me and CJ have gotten maybe what I would imagine a week's worth of fun out of just the point gesture.
Yeah, they're super fun. They're super goofy. Like I don't want them to leave either. And it also is another reward that you can get. So like if you do the things the game wants you to do, like you can get a little thing for it. It's very rare that I will actually role play in the game. I have done where it's like I'm going to be a shithead versus I'm going to be try to make everything work out well. For guys, like I'll have kind of tendencies towards like good or evil, which worked better with Dark and Demon Souls with the kind of binary endings that they had, which were one or the other. But starting with Dark Souls 2 and with Bloodborne, the endings are not like, yes, this is good, no, this is bad, even though there is more to it than that, like as we discussed ad nauseum for years. But the in the first two Dark Souls, I would do that a little bit. And then and oftentimes they would go with like, so the character, like in Dark Souls 1, the player that was going to go find Kath and be a Dark Wraith, like in my mind is like, okay, this guy's a bad guy, but I don't take it very far, and I don't take it encounter to encounter or anything like that.
I mean, I always play like my first run. I always try and make something as close to like my own visage as I can, and then just play however it comes. And then usually the second or third playthrough is where I think, right, I'm gonna be Father Gascoigne for this run. Something like that, and then just go and stick with that. Or like the gesturing, like we had this the other day. Me and CJ were playing Dark Souls 2 Scholar, and it might have been with him or not. But whenever someone got like a backstab or a parry on one of the Hide Knights, I'd stand in front and do the nah gesture, just to be as cocky as possible.
I'd done some co-op with my friend Laura Rich, and she gives, when she's created a character, she gives them a full backstory, which is something that I've not done. But I'd be as someone that likes to write anyway. that would be something that'd be really cool to give someone, a life and quirks, and really go into like the minutiae of who this person was, and then to put them into the game and to maybe see if there's an extra resonance, because this isn't just you playing a game or you playing as yourself, but you've created somebody that's living in this world that's got a personality of their own. I think that's kind of cool.
Plus, she's got the coolest co-op sign-off. Which is to bow and then calmly walk away.
Yeah, I've taken that way. I've taken that way.
Laura, show alum.
Yeah,
she's on our Dark Souls 2 season.
She's cool.
She's very cool.
It's like a matter of priority, right? Because I'm more concerned about the character of the world. Because the world is a character, you guys. No, but also like just kind of like what's happening at the macro level. The character is mostly just a thing for the camera to look at while I go and discover that stuff. So I think that's why I don't actively seek out that side of the experience.
No, the character's a thing to dress up in your Barbie clothes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all about fashion, Born.
Yeah, it's interesting the way that this is, like the way that the word role playing has changed as it applies to video games. Like this is a role playing game because you have control over your stats and stuff like that. But you're not necessary, and you do. Make a couple of choices like that influence the story, but like. What that means, the word role-playing doesn't actually have anything to do with the concept of role-playing when it comes to games. Like it means something entirely different. Mm-hmm. So you can get away with doing none of that. You don't have to do it.
I know that Leon Cox was saying about from Kane and Rince about Dragon's Dogma, that he set up his character as a middle-aged, slightly heavier set woman. Because he liked the thought of the chosen one not being sort of this stunningly muscular guy or this incredibly pretty girl, but kind of this very, very ordinary run of the mill kind of person, I guess, which I hadn't really thought about doing before. That's pretty cool in itself.
No, yeah. So thank you, Belshazzar. Mm-hmm. Real quick before we finish the follow-up things, I wanted to. Talk about like a piece of feedback that we got real quick. It's actually kind of old, and I meant to bring it up last episode and forgot. But in the very first episode, we were talking about the Hunter's Dream. Some comments and stuff were saying we're kind of chiding us for being kind of puritanical when we were squicked out by the line from Gurman, saying that you can use the doll. And I just want to clarify. So a couple of people were just like saying that I was being I don't know what the word is, being safe, like doing it because I didn't want to offend listeners or anything like that, which is not the case. You could accuse me of being like I'm on the record, like those people don't listen to Watch Out for Fireballs, where I talk about how you shouldn't get boners from games, and I say it all the time. That stuff, that genuinely the intersection of gaming and sex is weird to me. But it's if you don't have to agree with that, but it is genuine. I'm not just saying it. Yeah. Cole can attest to the fact that I'm weirded out by that stuff. So,
I took that particular line as Kuwait. Ugh.
That's. There was the point where the other day when I noticed the dirt on the bottom sort of hem of the doll's dress, and just my mind put two and two together with what Gurman had said about using the doll, and it just really, really kind of made me go like.
Yeah,
it's a lot of people were saying like, oh, there's been a precedent for this stuff. Like there's sex. Petrus was going to sexually assault Rhea, in Dark Souls 1. But this is so like this just felt like it just felt less in character to me.
Yeah, like we mentioned it during that episode, right? That like this is meant to make you feel uncomfortable, and this is like we caught that, like that we didn't miss it. The problem that is present is just that it is such a tonal shift that doesn't feel like it actually serves what it's trying to accomplish, and so it does kind of take us out of it a little bit.
And like I like to think that I accept criticism well, but the one thing that is always hard for me to accept is like being misunderstood. Mm-hmm. The reason why we get into this thing is because we want to communicate. So I don't want anyone to mistake me for like being disingenuous when I say I'm squeaked out by something, because I'm like the stuff on the show, like this is me actually I don't hold anything back. We just talked about cum for like a half hour in the last episode. It was not like, they're actually my opinions. You don't have to agree with them, but they're actually true. And then also don't assume that I didn't consider that something is intentional just because I didn't like it. Like it can be something that it was intended, but also could be something I don't think works.
Yeah.
And
but isn't that kind of the whole thing about Souls in general, of different playthroughs and talking to different people that have got different takes on things or have been affected in different ways by it? That's what makes the community fun, because it's fine to disagree with something. That means that you're thinking.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and me saying that I don't think it's that way doesn't mean it doesn't have to impact you thinking the opposite. Yeah. And it doesn't even necessarily think that I think that you're wrong. Like there's room for all of it. So if it worked for you, because it was meant to be creepy and is meant to be sexual and that was intended, great. And if you've always thought of like the Souls as being less, more about that and there being more room for that stuff in Souls, also great. But I didn't, which is okay.
Yeah.
So ordinarily I wouldn't have dug out a 3-week-old comment to respond to. But one, I meant to do it last time. And then two, again, please don't let me be misunderstood. So I'm just a podcaster whose intentions are good. So thanks everybody for your feedback and contributing. If you have things to say about Old Yharnam, hit us up at Duckfeed.tv /contact. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/bonfireside chat.
Yeah, if you'd like to support us, you can go to patreon.com/DuckFeedTV or go to Duckfeed.tv/tipjar. Do your Amazon purchases through that, and it does help us out a great deal. CJ and Paddy, how can people find you?
Do you want to take it this time?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do it this time, yeah. Okay, easiest way to find us is on Twitter, which is @TwinHumanities. On there you'll find us linking up all our new shows and everything we put out, plus just to talk to us. You can find us individually. I'm @Paddy Stardust. CJ is @CoffeeJesus with a Z in the middle of Jesus. You can also find us on twinhumanities.com. We have a YouTube channel where we also put all our videos up and stuff. And yeah, just come and say hello. And if you like it, do the iTunes review, share thing, press the +1 button on your social media of choice.
Yeah.
Because there's so many of them.
Yes. So many ways to show approval.
And it's true.
Can you link us in? Link us in. Why not?
Let's join your employee network. Fax us a business card. And stay tuned for some pretty goofy deleted scene material.
We had a good giggle. Faux show, mofo.
Hello.
Hey, Paddy.
Hello.
Hey. Good evening.
Hello.
Hello.
I stistill had the music playing then when everyone was saying hello, and it just sounded like a proper introduction, like the
hello.
was sort of fading down. I remember that song. Who sang that song?
The old Hello song?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Sade.
Yeah, yep. It was
No.
Hello, and then parentheses, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
No, there was one, it was like, hello, Peter, hello, Paul. And then it got into the chorus, it went like, hello. I'll find it.
I do not know it.
There'll be a point sort of where I'm in the bath in about like 4 weeks' time, and I suddenly go, oh my God, it was...
Yeah, the Kaiser Soze moment.
Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't happen in the middle of, we figured it out. Gascoigne is actually from... and then just bam.
Is it Lionel Richie?
Oh, that's a different... That doesn't have Lionel Richie going, hello, Peter, hello, Paul.
Yep. That would be funny.
Weird song.
If Age with Lionel Richie just broke him off going in a certain direction, just started freestyling it.
The prompter turned off.
Yeah. I'm not feeling very
Lionel.
well, so...
This time it's not you we're looking for.
Yeah, exactly.
But here are all the people that I've said hello to in my life.
These are the Daves I know.
Oh man, that reminds me. I remember once seeing like there was a thing here with where they started with some basketball coverage like years and years ago, and trying to introduce the UK to kind of the rules of basketball and stuff. Really, really well done show. But they showed some footage of the start of some sort of championship game with who was it? There was some soul singer that was singing the national anthem. And I swear to God, within about 2 lines, all these basketball players were looking at him, wondering if they'd actually get to start the game in their lifetime. It was kind of like, say, and it was just, even watching it, you were just feeling uncomfortable and thinking like, I'm getting cramp at my arse cheeks. Is this ever going to happen? So, drugs.
Yeah, that's people, man. That's the national anthem for you. People can't shut the fuck up about it. Yeah, just quiet your face a little bit.
The more notes you add, the more you love America.
That is true. I love going to like a local sporting event where they get the low rent national anthem people, because they always do the national anthem. So you know you see it on TV, but if you go see like a minor league baseball game or even something like junior roller derby, somebody's singing the national anthem. And they just really scrape the middle bottom of the barrel for that stuff. You just get some people. It's just like, you know, this is karaoke, like national anthem at best. Which like I think the national anthem is on karaoke. I think you can do that. And next time I do karaoke, I'm doing the national anthem. So
that's a nice MIDI backing track.
What, like somebody's just running through the different sounds that can be used on the demo of a keyboard.
Yep, yeah. The Casio.
What was the one we had when I was a kid? I think it was Just the Way You Are by Billy Joel, and it was like and it would always get to a certain point where it played like the wind bit, and it'd be like
like there's a website that collects those. That collects keyboard, like old 80s keyboard demos, because they're awesome. Like especially when they're like a modern pop hit as opposed to like Yankee Doodle or some shit. Because you end up, I used to have a keyboard that had "I'm Your Venus, I'm Your Fire," and it was awesome. Like it was real good. It was like that, like Genesis farts for miles, like brum, 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 brum. Like it's so bassy.
Yeah, our national anthem's somewhat of a dirge. So whenever we could be playing like a friendly in the football with some sort of European country, and sort of theirs is also like, and it's like you can see all the fans sort of really getting riled up by it, and then we go, God save our gracious Queen. Like, Christ.
Curses being carried along behind the footballers.
Depressed before the game's kicked off.
I love that phrase.
It sets you up well for an England game, doesn't it, really?
I love that phrase that you use, playing a friendly. Yeah, that's pretty great.
Yeah, that's sort of the point where they've just, the FA have just arranged something for financial reasons under the guise of sort of playing some of the second-rate players, or just keeping the hand in before the proper
an
games.
exhibition match.
Yeah, and nobody cares about it.
Yeah, just in case the entire country forgets about football by accident.
Yeah, sure you're in danger of. Yeah. No. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, I'm all right, actually. It's I've had a day off today, so I've done very little other than play Scholar of the First Sin and watch staggering amounts of Nashville, which I am stupendously addicted to, and have shed real tears at certain songs, which is quite embarrassing. I've watched so much of it, I'm surprised I'm not sort of speaking to you with some sort of Nashville twang.
Cole and I go to great lengths to disguise our accents for the show.
Yeah, actually, it's hard.
we met over a stand-up washboard bass and a cigar box geet box.
Yeah, his enthusiastic knee slapping.
Yeah, I was playing the spoons, and Cole was like, "I like your sound. Those are good spoons." And then,
hey son, I like the cut of your jib.
Yeah, he's like, Jib,
you've got quite some moxie. You're making me vibrate in my nylons.
Yeah, yeah. You look like you'd rock a bolo tie. Am I right in that assumption?
Am I not rocking a bolo with a hootenanny? Come on. When did I ever rock a bolo?
Just got a vision of you two your eyes meeting in that sort of bar with the spoons, and at the point where your eyes meet, sort of the tide just spins around on Cole, and he just opens his eyes at you like, you've won the lottery, son.
Yeah, we got spoons.
We had forks. Oh, we dreamed of forks.
Yeah, we used to do the show with the guy who played the forks, and it sucked.
Yeah. Fork that guy.
Anything.
It just wasn't working out.
Is Nashville a reality music competition show?
It's
drama.
It's got a lass from Friday Night Lights in it, which is the reason I started watching it. And it reminds me a lot of Friday Night Lights, except instead of there being an American football game, sort of for me to get sort of really riled by, occasionally someone will break into a song, and within about 2 lines, I'll be like, So I've been surprisingly involved in it, but yeah, I'm quite enjoying it. So
yeah, my girlfriend watches that show, and I've not seen it, but she watches it pretty religiously. Now, I'm not saying that like my girlfriend watches the show,
but that is how you've been exposed to it.
Yeah,
mind you, I do know a guy who, when I was, because I don't really understand a lot of American football, but I really enjoyed Friday Night Lights, and I knew a guy who refused to watch it because it had a large demographic of women watched it.
Well, that's ridiculous.
Refused because
yeah, I don't know.
They look at this show about football and say this is girly.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, it's supposed to be it's an emotionally resonant show.
Yeah.
I mean, I think one of the successes about it was that it made you care about the people in the community, and part of it wasn't really the football. It was how there was this town that was incredibly religious, and a part of that religion wasn't just God; it was about football, and sort of how the pressure put on this coach and these young men that are trying to kind of find themselves in their lives impacts them really. But yeah, I really enjoyed that show.
No good drama is about what it looks like.
Oh yeah.
It's not like, The Wire is actually about cops and criminals, shooting each other and getting into chases and stuff. And like, it's not like Mad Men is actually about the advertising industry. Like, it's about the people, and Deadwood's about building a community, and like
Gary?
Breaking Bad is about, yeah.
You know what I watched this morning, Gary?
What'd you watch?
The first episode of Deadwood.
Yes. Welcome.
So we'll come back around again.
Yeah, cocksucker.
I remember television. I used to watch television once. Who has time anymore?
I very rarely watch television now, but every once in a while I'll make an exception.
But the only TV we watch now is Netflix, and usually Laura gets that, and which means we're watching some god-awful anime. She's watching something called Black Butler at the minute. It is horrific. The
Denzel Washington movie from the from last year that made white people feel good about racism. Is that the one?
That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a line in the opening that's something like, "You will melt, and I will drink you and play with your upper lip." And I was watching. What?
No.
And I just looked across at her, and she couldn't explain it. She just sort of looked guilty and looked away. I was like, oh, dang. I haven't watched a TV show. I mean, we started watching Deadwood before the movie. Not Deadwood, Daredevil. God, same word.
That was great.
Yeah, but I only got 4 episodes in, and then we moved house, and ever since there's just been no time.
Yeah.
Because the house needs fixing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm practically sitting in a hole here in front of the computer, so it's...
I know that game.
House moving's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you turn up to your new house and you go in and you discover a massive hole in the floor that you never saw before because there was a sofa over it.
Oh, God.
What? Great. Yeah, no, there's a huge chunk where like a fireplace has clearly been taken out, but we never saw it because there was a sofa here when we came to view it.
It's a hole in the floor?
Well, it's not a massive hole. Like, it's just kind of like a bit where they haven't done the nice flooring, so it kind of just dips down by about an inch. But it's enough to set off the balance of the computer chair.
Oh.
It's enough to start a koi pond. like look on the bright side, man.
We could put some baby ones in there. Like they'd be okay for a while.
Yeah, it's just Paddy and the koi boys. Just hanging out.
That puts so many
my band. Yeah, that was.
that puts so many real world problems into perspective, Pat. You'd be like, "Oh, have you heard? There's problems with more radiation's been discovered in Japan, and people are still starving in Africa. Never mind that. My friend has a bit of floor that's slightly lower than his main floor." Hashtag stay strong for Paddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the problem is, it's like, because I bought this house and because we're not renting, right? This is my problem to fix now. I can't just phone someone and go fix it. Like, well, I can phone my dad.
Call the police.
But
The floor police. Yeah, we don't get many calls, mate. I've got to be honest with you.
Exactly. Those ceiling boys.
Yeah. What we're looking for is someone that has a look in their eye which says, "I'm not going to finish all this floor," and you'd be surprised how difficult that is to find.
we're looking. We don't get much budget.
You've just got officers out in the streets, but they're all covered in floor tiles. Just look like pixel art.
Those roof riders get all the funding. It's crazy.
So yes, no, I'm well. I've had a very long shift at work. 8:30 till 7. Yeah,
That is a long shift.
Just pushing furniture around and taking furniture phone calls from people. I work for a charity shop. I think you call them Goodwill in America.
Okay.
And we take in furniture from people. So what that essentially boils down to is I have a phone in my shop and it doesn't stop ringing for 12 hours.
Because people are like, "I don't want to pay to dispose of this. Will you come take it?"
Yeah, and I'd be like, "Is it nice?" And they go, the table's only got 3 legs." And I go, "Okay, bye."
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the shit we have been to, that is not a joke. Got a table with a leg missing, and they're like, "You could just buy another one." Like, no, you could
It's
buy
charity.
another one.
Yeah. This is for people who are buying discount tables. Which I'm not saying that to be disparaging. I buy almost all of my furniture at Goodwill. Every once in a while I'll be in a store and I'm like, "Oh, a new couch is $600 for something my cat is going to scratch up?
Yeah.
That's a month's rent. I'm not going to do that. That's crazy."
Everything in my house is I would say 75% of things in my house are from my shop.
Yeah.
So, I like that.
Well, you get dibs.
Well, no, you can. There's a 24-hour rule. You have to wait exactly 24 hours, and you can go, "It's mine."
You should get that 3-legged table for that hole in your floor. Just position it over it, and then just hover over.
I could take
The Museum of the Wrong.
Yeah. The island of misfit furniture.
Just open up the door and they're like, "Marlene, he's ginger. Run. We might not escape this place."
Horrible nightmarish land.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I'll let you. We'll start getting started. I've got some stuff to do after this, and I know it is late for you guys.
Yes, I apologize for the late start. I had a tremendous amount of technical difficulty getting stuff set up for the recording.
No, fine. Don't worry about it.
I notice I have 2 of you on Skype.
Yes, yeah. So I was originally going to dial you in on another computer to get a nice multi-track separation, so we could do compression and edit out overtalk. But no, all of you are on one track because of the technical difficulties. So you just have 2 of me now.
Excellent. Ooh, I was a bit concerned. Wait, didn't I just hang on? What?
Yeah,
That's almost a sitcom, isn't it? My 2 calls.
yeah.
Too many calls.
Do you or go ahead, Cole?
I was going to say neither of them do much. Go ahead.
Yeah, my 2 Coles. So just so you guys know, if you guys have a computer in front of you, we have a notes page.
If you have a computer in front of me, funny enough.
Excellent. I guess that's true. You're on Skype. Why didn't I?
Where's this voice coming from?
You might have been thrown off, Paddy, by that slightly lower floor that you've got in a certain part. So we're just covering all bases.
This looks like the computer.
Speak slowly. He's got a lowered floor. So he can understand you.
Don't treat him any differently.
This looks like my computer, but it's an inch higher than it usually is.
What's happening? My whole world is coming apart. So if you open a browser and go to like that click clack, good keyboard, and dig it.
Thank you, Ted.
Mm-hmm.
Click.
And then the password is, and then we've got some notes, and it looks really intimidating because it's all the notes for all of our shows ever, but we're not going to do 75 pages of. And now in Central Yharnam, we talk about amnesia, the dark descent.
we can book a week off. It's fine.
Yeah.
When I listened to your latest show, I noticed that that Varty was sort of quite flummoxed at first, and you were like, "No, it is everything that we've done."
Yeah. I like the idea of fooling him into thinking like, we got you now, as if he's somehow contractually obligated and couldn't just like hang up. Like, can you read our show notes and we'll publish it as a sonorous audiobook with your beautiful voice?
And we all pray that we will have far more soon